Hey guys, so today's video is going to be how to cut your hair at home like a professional. I recently did a how to color your hair at home like a professional, so I will link that video down below. But I have a cape on so I can see the difference between my hair and the black shirt I was wearing. I'm starting to section off my hair about mid-ear. And just a reminder, when your hair is wet, be careful when you're brushing it out or combing it out because it can stretch and break. So I split that section into two parts and bringing one to each side. The shears I am using are professional hair cutting shears. They are very sharp. So with the shears or the scissors that you are using, just make sure that they are sharp and will give you a clean cut. So the first thing to a longer haircut or a bob haircut is establishing length and how much you want to cut off. You are not starting out cutting layers in a haircut, you are establishing length. So I'm cutting about a ½ inch off and I'm combing each section to make sure that I don't have any stragglers left behind so I don't get an uneven haircut. So usually your first cut is called your guide, and your guide is used to determine the length of your haircut the whole way around, and that is what you use to make sure that your haircut is even. So what I do is I take each section and find my guide and then cut even with the guide. Super easy, and it's seriously a great way to get a great haircut. So as you can see, I am pulling each section really tight, and I'm checking each section after I cut a few pieces just because I want to make sure that my haircut is even. So just a few reminders. First one being, I have found if you are a beginner or you are just learning how to cut your own hair at home, it's easier to have it wet rather than dry because when hair is wet, it does stick together a little bit better, so you are more out to get a cleaner, more even haircut. The second reminder being that when your hair is wet, it does shrink about a ½ inch to an inch when it dries, depending on your hair texture and type, so keep that in mind as well. And the very last little reminder or tip, that depending on how you hold your head, like at a certain angle, or you hold your hair, will determine about length and the angle that you're cutting. So just keep in mind that when you are cutting length, pull all the way down and then cut across because that is the best way to get a clean, nice cut. So as you can see, I am combing each section and I am actually holding my shears up and down, and I am doing a technique called tip cutting or chip cutting. This just adds a little bit of texture into my haircut. And I've noticed when my hair is a little bit shorter rather than longer, I have to pull out each section just a little bit, just so I make sure that I'm not cutting the cape. But I like a little bit of an angle on my haircut because I blend it all in and do a lot of face framing in the front. So I'm just combing and doing the same technique, cutting across or adding just a little bit of texture into the bottom of my haircut. So now I'm going to add layers. Layers are a great way to remove some bulk, to add a little bit of texture, to create some volume. Now I take sections about an inch wide and about 2 inches above the ear, so I am not cutting any length, but just adding some layering. So you can see right there, I am showing you where my guide is and then going at a diagonal angle and cutting away some of the length there. Just because the length is not needed, it's just layering. So just a reminder to take all your sections at the same angle and do the exact same technique. I'm chip cutting into these layers because I do want a little bit more texture. Now, I forgot to mention this, but I'm going to mention this now. My hair is not super duper thick. Oh, how I wish it was, but it is not. So I took 3 sections in my hair. You can take more or less if you want. It's totally up to you. But now I am taking a wide section at the top of my head and combing that so it's even, and then pulling that all the way forward and starting to chip cut into that to make sure that all my layers are meeting up. So I'm following my guide there, as you can see. I just like to make sure and check all my sections when I'm almost done with my haircut to make sure that everything is even and I'm not missing certain pieces. So now that I have my layers cut, I am going in and framing my face. I'm just going in at an angle with my shears and taking sections and making sure that they match up. You can see where there is a straggler piece, so I am just going in at an angle and making sure my guide matches up. It's super easy. Try it just a few times. Now I'm shaking my hair and going back through it to make sure that there were no pieces missed. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you next time. Bye guys!